Alright, I've already made a ranking video on Frozone, Mr. Incredible, and even Gamma Jack, so it's time to show love to everyone's childhood crush, the thick mama herself, Elastigirl. But before we get started, let's go over the tiers. No chance. They would get smoked off rip. They have literally almost no chance of winning at all. Could land a few juicers. They could land a few licks, maybe because they can get in close quick enough, or could sneaker, or some other reason, but other than that, they're not doing much. Bit of a scrap. It's actually a good fight. Elastigirl might struggle. It's just a good, competitive fight. They could beat Elastigirl. They actually have the ability to beat her, and depending on the situation, they could pack her up. But it's not a 100% guarantee because maybe they have a weakness that could be exploited or no increased durability. They'd beat Elastigirl. They would win. Easily. Obviously. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's get into this. Killer Frost from the DCAMU. For some characters, I will be using specific adaptations because I'm not including some bullshit one-off comics where they're OP for no reason or some other poorly written adaptation. Just had to mention that. Now, Elastigirl, just like every other character with elastic powers, is very weak to cold temperatures, and Killer Frost's whole thing is freezing things. She could hit her from a distance and freeze her over, or she could use her ice shard things from a distance. If the fight was up close, then she'd still have the edge, because if Elastigirl puts her paws on her, she'd get frozen over instantly. She's even shown that she could just breathe real hard and freeze her over. Elastigirl is fast and could close the distance pretty quickly, but Killer Frost is just on another level. And like I said, if she grabs her, she's going to get frozen over anyways. So she can't even really be touched. But Killer Frost isn't invulnerable, so there is a chance. Just a small chance, but nonetheless a chance that Elastigirl could knock her out with one punch, as she's done to others before. Obviously, if Killer Frost gets slapped with one punch to the lips, then she wouldn't be able to freeze her over. But other than that, Elastigirl's cooked. So I'm going to put Killer Frost, and they could beat Elastigirl. 9 times out of 10, Killer Frost would win, but since it's not a 100% guarantee, she can't sneak into the top tier. Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevil series. This isn't the same guy who can throw down with Spider-Man or anything like that. Netflix's Kingpin is just a big-ass dude who can and does throw down with a Daredevil. But he doesn't have any super strength or anything like that. He's just like Brian Shaw strong, I guess. This is also a fight with just him. I'm not including his men. Now, Elastigirl can be taken down, obviously with extreme heat, extreme cold, electricity, and I'm assuming a lot of other shit, except for blunt forces. She did low-key get smacked right here. No clue how, doesn't make sense, so I'm just going to ignore that. She should be able to tank any blunt force, but if we take a little peek at her stats here, her durability is not very high, so I do think she could be shot or stabbed. She is not, I repeat, is not on the same level as Plastic Man, who can take explosions to the face. So don't have him in mind when I'm talking about Elastigirl. I do believe a gun could put her down, but unfortunately for Kingpin, he's usually just throwing hands. Off the top of my head, I don't remember him using a gun very often, like at all. It's definitely not something he usually has on him. He usually just throws hands and has his men do the shooting. And throwing punches will do absolutely nothing to Elastigirl, so I'm going to put Kingpin and could land a few juicers. Reason being, he could probably eat a few of her punches. He's taken some good shots before, so she might then try to get close, and in that range, I think he could land 1 or 2. It would do nothing to her, but he could land them before he gets suffocated or strangled or whatever. There's worse ways to go out than being strangled by Elastigirl. Homelander. I'll probably somehow piss people off with this, but Homelander is easily going in. They'd beat Elastigirl. But chill out, let me explain why. Everyone likes to act like Homelander isn't a lesser version or a watered-down version of Superman, but he is. And a watered-down version of Superman wrecks the majority of people. He struggled against Queen Maeve, who is like the 3rd strongest in the boys, the same chick that got smacked by an armored truck like it was a stuffed animal, by the way. He was also very clearly half-assing that fight. And then he struggled against Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey together. That's a 3v1, and one of them is arguably the 2nd strongest soup in the boys. He's nearly completely invulnerable and has only been hurt by the strongest soups in the show. It's also stated that he's taken every weapon on Earth and was unbothered.
There isn't a weapon on Earth that they haven't thrown at him. They've all failed.
I'm assuming that includes nuclear weapons or at least multiple explosives, so yeah, he's a beast whether you like it or not. He can laser Elastigirl dead instantly. If she grabbed him or tried to wrap him up, he could fly her into space, which would freeze her. Or if she grabbed him, he could just laser her off of him. Literally anything she throws at him, he can easily take. I'm using actual logic and common sense, and using that, Homelander smokes her while she has literally no chance of winning. The dude is more durable than Soldier Boy, who took bullets to the back of his throat, pause, took a blade to the eye that did nothing, took a full-on laser to the face for a minute and only got a scratch. So, like it or not, stop playing with Homelander, he's going in the top tier. The Penguin from Reeves' Batman. The Penguin in this movie is literally just an untrained fat mob boss. He's got men with him to handle business, but he himself would get absolutely wiped in about a second. Elastigirl's fast, dude. She could take his back and choke him out in a heartbeat, or knock him out from a distance, and unlike Kingpin, I don't think he'd land a shot even in close range, so I'm putting the Penguin in no chance. Azazel from X-Men First Class. Azazel's powers are pretty simple: teleportation, expert swordsman, and a dope-ass suit. Elastigirl is fast, but I doubt she'd be able to get to him before he teleports away. He took out a whole squad of trained men with automatic weapons on his own, and if she did grab him, he could just teleport out of there. I also don't think she could just knock him out, considering, again, he has very fast reflexes and would just teleport before he gets hit. Teleportation is just such an overpowered power. His go-to move of teleporting behind people, grabbing them, teleporting them to the sky, and dropping them wouldn't work on Elastigirl, so he might teleport behind her and just stab her, or teleport behind her and teleport her to another country he's been to. There's just a lot more ways that he could win than Elastigirl could win, but I don't think it's 100% guarantee, as Elastigirl could knock him out if she caught him lacking. Other than that, I think he wins 9 times out of 10, so I'm going to put Azazel, and they could beat Elastigirl. Teleportation is just so overpowered that it'd be hard for Elastigirl to even touch him, so yeah, I'm going with that. Tombstone, no specific adaptation in mind. Tombstone is a very durable dude with super strength. Not crazy strength or anything like that, but he does run the fade with Spider-Man consistently and wins consistently. Only problem is he almost exclusively just throws hands, and he's slower and not nearly as agile, so even if he had a gun, Elastigirl would probably disarm him decently quick. So if they just go at each other like that, it'd probably actually be a pretty competitive fight in my opinion. Tombstone's punches wouldn't do much to Elastigirl, and her punches wouldn't do shit to Tombstone, who's completely bulletproof and can easily withstand building level explosions. Elastigirl could wrap him up and suffocate him, similar to what Martian Man did to Omni-Man, while obviously covering his face. But just like what Omni-Man did, Tombstone could probably use his strength to rip her off, which would injure her or kill her. Yeah, this one's tough, but I'm going to put Tombstone in a bit of a scrap. You know, it's going to be a good fight. No one person has an easy way to take out the other, so I'm going to go with that. The Void from Thunderbolts. Patrick Bateman. Patrick Bateman is a regular human who typically lures people into his home and packs them up. Elastigirl is a married woman, so I doubt she'd be coming over, but for the fun of it, let's just say she does. The only way Patrick wins is if he can sneak her with a bladed weapon or a gun. But Elastigirl isn't a dumbass like everyone in American Psycho. I'm pretty sure she'll be on her P's and Q's, and when Buddy brings out the axe, he's gonna get a 2-piece dinner with biscuits. And that's literally his only way to win. She beats his ass with ease and disarms him stupidly easily, so Patrick Bateman will be going in, no chance. Bullseye from the Netflix Daredevil series. Pretty much everyone knows Bullseye's ability is that he is literally 100% accurate with anything he can get his hands on, whether that's a gun, a baton, pencils, glass, literally anything. He's also highly trained, I presume, in multiple martial arts, as he's able to throw down with Daredevil pretty consistently. He doesn't know how to sprawl or check a leg kick though, but I don't think Elastigirl is going to be doing any of that. He's also just completely unhinged, and I'll definitely make a video on him at some point. Now, obviously, he could shoot her from a distance and would 100% hit her and kill her with one shot, since he's 100% accurate. And he usually has a piece on him, but even if he didn't, if all he had was a sharpened pencil, or a piece of glass, or a tooth, she's cooked. Literally, he can use anything, but he's also not indestructible. He could be suffocated or knocked out, but since he could snipe her with anything from a distance with 100% accuracy, he most definitely could kill her, so Bullseye will be going in. They could beat Elastigirl. Sinestro. He's pretty consistent, so no specific adaptation. Yeah, let's be honest here. He wipes the floor with Elastigirl. He consistently solos multiple Green Lanterns. He can conjure up anything and murk her instantly. He can also just use his ring to blast a hole through her. And on top of that, the ring creates a little protective aura around the wearer. That's how Green Lantern survives shit like this consistently. And since Elastigirl doesn't have any crazy super strength, she wouldn't be able to hurt him. So pretty easy here. Sinestro is going in. They'd beat Elastigirl. Literally nothing she can do, like, at all. He could pack her up a million different ways on a bad day. Bane from Young Justice. Obviously Bane has enhanced strength, but he's not overly strong. He's not picking up trucks or buildings and shit. He's also not very durable. He's not like bulletproof. He's just able to eat a few juicers from human heroes. And like everyone else on this list who doesn't have a gun or a knife, those punches aren't going to do anything. But with that being said, I think Bane is able to eat all of her punches and kicks, but he could be suffocated and his tube that pumps his venom can be cut. So he's still at a pretty big disadvantage here. I think Elastigirl would wrap him up, cut his line, and then knock him out or just choke him out. But while she does that, I think he could land a few punches. Not like they would do anything, but I think he could land them. So I feel I have to put him and could land a few juicers. He's definitely not going to kill or even hurt her with straight hands, so that's where he's going to go. El Diablo from the Suicide Squad. Kind of like the Heatwave versus Plastic Man situation I talked about in my Plastic Man video, but worse. El Diablo can completely disintegrate anyone within like speaking distance to him, and then on top of that, he can turn into some giant ass flame monster. But unfortunately, he doesn't have any increased durability in his human form. This isn't the comics where he can't die or whatever. He can and did die in the movie, allegedly, so Elastigirl could knock him out in his human form. That's her only way of winning, and her chances of doing that before getting charred are pretty slim. If he's in his giant form, obviously he's going straight into the top tier easily, but because he's vulnerable in his human form, I'm gonna have to put El Diablo, and they could beat Elastigirl. If his situation is something like the Hulk, where like if he dies in his human form, he'll just wake up as the bigger dude, then also he'd be in the top tier, but I don't know if he does that or not. The movie doesn't show that, so he's gonna have to go right there. Alright, that's my list. Remember, this is my opinion on completely fictional fights. Any writer could have anyone beat anyone, so chill out. It's also just a kid's movie, so it's not very consistent. But let me know your thoughts on this, and let me know what you would change and why. Also, let me know what videos you guys want to see next. But that's all I've got for you guys today, so I'll see you in the next one.